In this video, we're going to look at how to factorize a quadratic trinomial by using the guide number method. So, may as well just jump right into it and take a look at the first example, and we'll explain this as I go along. So, in our first example, we have x squared plus 3x plus 2, and we have to factorize this out. So what we're going to do for that is we're going to multiply the coefficient of x squared, like the number in front of x squared, by the constant being the number at the end of our expression that doesn't have an x attached to it. Now in our example here, there's no number written in front of x squared, so we assume there's a 1 there. So we got 1 multiplied by 2, and we get 2. And now we're going to list the factors of this product. So we get 1 times 2. Now because 2 is a prime number in this example, there's no choices to be made. We're definitely going to have to use this pair. When we get to the next example, we'll see that there's going to have to be a choices made, and I'll explain why we make them. So with our factors, our 1 and 2, we're going to use them. We're going to split up our middle term in our expression. It's 3x. So we're going to rewrite our expression x squared. Then instead of plus 3x, we're going to write plus x plus 2x. Then we write plus 2 in the end, same as before. And you notice that if we added this x and 2x, we'd get 3x. So we'd go back up to the original expression. So all we're doing is just expanding it out a little bit. Now from here, we can factorize what we have now by grouping. So if we group the first two together and treat them as a pair, we'll take the highest common factor from that, which is x. So we've got x multiplied by, and then in brackets we have x plus 1. And then our highest common factor from the second two numbers is going to be 2, and that's going to be multiplied by x plus 1. And now you can see that we've got common bracket. So I'm just going to write that down. So we've got x plus 1 multiplied by x plus 2. And that is that expression fully factorized. That's it done. But we'll see what it looks like when you've actually got a choice to make on which of the factors to take. So in this case, we only had one pair because 2 is a prime number. But it'll be slightly different for our next example. So same method as before, we multiply the number in front of x squared, which is 1, by the number at the end, which is 8. This time we get 8. And then we list out the factors of 8. So it's going to be 1 times 8 and 2 times 4. Now which one we choose does actually matter. We can't just choose whichever pair we most like. It has to be one that will fit for this factorization. And the way we choose out which pair is based upon the middle term in our expression. So the pair that we choose has to be a pair of factors for 8 in this case, and they have to sum up to the number in the middle. So 1 plus 8 is 9, so we're not going to use that. But 2 plus 4 is 6. So we're going to take 2 plus 4. So we're going to rewrite this out again. So we're going to have x squared plus 2x plus 4x plus 8. And again, you can see that if we added the 2x and the 4x, we get the 6x back, so we haven't changed the value of our expression. And from here, we can factorize this out. So the highest common factor for our first pair is x, and then inside our brackets we're going to have x plus 2. And the highest common factor for our second pair is going to be 4, and inside our brackets we're going to have x plus 2. So now we've got a common factor, which is x plus 2. And then we just write down what's outside the brackets from above, x plus 4. Okay, so that's those two done. But the thing is, these two examples have both involved expressions that have all positive numbers. So what happens when we've got an expression where there's negative numbers involved? So let's take a look at that. In these examples just here, you can see that the middle term in each expression is negative. And that's going to affect how we solve this out just a little bit. But the start is going to be the same as before. We're going to take the number in front of x squared, which in these examples is 1 again. We're going to multiply it by the constant. So for our example on the left, we're going to have 1 times 14, and we get 14. And now we're going to write out the factors of 14. So we've got 1 times 14, and we've got 2 times 7. And the number we're hoping that the pair we choose will add to is minus 9. But you notice that neither of our pairs will add up to minus 9. 1 and 14 add up to 15, and 2 and 7 add up to 9, which is not the same as minus 9. But what we've got here is we've got an incomplete list of factors because we didn't take the negative factors into account. We didn't need to above because there were no negative numbers in our examples. But this time around we're going to have to. So the actual full list of factors for this is going to include minus 1 times minus 14 and minus 2 times minus 7. Because a negative number times a negative number will give you a positive number. And when you look at the last one here, minus 2 minus 7 multiplies to give you 14 and sums to give you minus 9. So we're going to use that. So if we rewrite our expression, we're going to have x squared minus 2x minus 7x plus 14. And now we can factorize them by grouping. From the first pair, the highest common factor is x. So we get x times x minus 2. And the highest common factor from the second pair is going to be minus 7. So we get minus 7 times x minus 2, like that. And now our common factor is x minus 2. So we write that down. X minus 2 times x minus 7. And that's our expression fully factorized. Alright, let's see that again, just to make sure we're definitely getting this. Same process as before. We multiply the coefficient of x squared, which is 1, times our number on the end, which is 12. So we get 12. Then we're going to list out all the factors of 12. So we're going to have 1 times 12, 2 times 6, 3 times 4. And because we've got a minus in here, we're going to get the negative factors as well. So minus 1 times minus 12, minus 2 times minus 6, minus 3 times minus 4. And we're going to need to use minus 2 times minus 6, because minus 2 minus 6 is minus 8. So let's rewrite our expression. We get x squared minus 2x minus 6x plus 12. Now we're going to factorize that by grouping them out. So we're going to pair the first two together, and we're going to have x times x minus 2. And the second two, the highest common factor, is going to be minus 6. So we're going to 6 times x minus 2. So we finish off the factorization, we get x minus 2 multiplied by x minus 6, like that. But again, that only had a negative in the middle. Our last number was positive in both these examples. When our last number is negative, that's actually going to change things up a little bit further. So let's take a look at examples that involve that. So on these two, you'll notice that the last number is negative. And in each of them, the middle number is different. It's going to be negative on the first one, positive on the second one. But we're still going to follow the same process. Just going to make sure that we're careful of our signs for this. So same process as before. Coefficient of x squared, which in this case is 1, multiplied by our number on the end, which in this case is minus 10. And keeping the minus is important. So minus 10. So now we need to write out the factors of minus 10. It's going to be minus 1 times 10, or 1 times minus 10, minus 2 times 5, or 2 times minus 5. Okay, so those are all of our factors. And the way we choose which ones we want is we need a pair of them that are going to sum to minus 3. Well, minus 1 plus 10 is going to give us 9, and 1 minus 10 will give us minus 9. Minus 2 plus 5 will give us 3, and 2 minus 5 will give us minus 3. So we're going to use that. So when we split this up, we're going to have x squared plus 2x minus 5x minus 10, like that. As you can see, 2x minus 5x will give us minus 3x. So again, we haven't changed the value of the expression. Now it's going to factorize this out. From the first pair, the highest common factor is x. So we get x times x plus 2. Now from the second pair, the highest common factor is going to be minus 5. And then inside of brackets, we're going to have x plus 2, which means we have x plus 2 times x minus 5. And that's that expression fully factorized. Now let's see how it works when we've got a positive number in the middle and a negative number on the end. So same process as before, number in front of x squared, which is 1, multiplied by the number at the end, which is minus 60. So we're going to have minus 60. and we're going to list the factors of minus 60. So we have 1 times minus 60, or we have minus 1 times 60, we have 2 times minus 30, or minus 2 times 30, we have 3 times minus 20, or minus 3 times 20, we have 4 times minus 15, or we have minus 4 times 15, we have 5 times minus 12, we've got minus 5 times 12, and we have 6 times minus 10, and minus 6 times 10. Now it's a long list to choose from, but we know what we're aiming for. We're looking for a pair of numbers that will multiply to minus 60, which is what this is a list of, but they also need to sum to plus 17, because that's our number in the middle here. And if we go down to these, without needing to list what each of these sums up to, we're going to get down as far as minus 3 plus 20. Minus 3 plus 20 is 17. So that is the pair we're going to choose just there. So when we split this up, we're going to get x squared minus 3x plus 20x minus 60. And then we're going to factor these out. So from our first pair, it's going to be x times x minus 3. And from our second pair, it's going to be 20 times x minus 3. So we're going to have x minus 3 times x plus 20. Okay, now all of the examples we've seen so far, all 6 of these, there's been no number other than 1 in front of x squared. But this method does still work when there is a number involved. In fact, it's even more useful for these particular type of ones. There are other methods for doing this, but this is the most useful method when there's a coefficient of x squared. So let's look at 3 examples here where we've got a number in front of the x squared, and we'll go to the process for them. So in our first one here, we're going to take our number in front of x squared, which is 3, and we're going to multiply by the number at the end, 6, and we're going to get 18. We're going to start factors of 18. It's going to be 1 by 18, 2 by 9, 3 by 6. Alright, and we need to pick which of these pair will sum up to 11, because that's our number in the middle. So we're going to take 2 and 9. So we're going to have 3x squared plus 9x plus 2x plus 6. So again, because the 9x plus 2x adds to 11x, we haven't changed the value of our expression, we've just made it easier to factorize. We take out our highest common factors from the 2 pairs. From the first pair, we're going to get 3x times x plus 3. And from the second pair, we're just going to get 2 times x plus 3. So when we put that together, we're going to get x plus 3 times 3x plus 2. Just like that. And it'll be the exact same thing again when we've got even less convenient numbers. So for our second example, we've got 3 times minus 20, which is going to give us minus 60. Now, we already listed all the factors of minus 60 above. So rather than list them out again, we'll just reference that list back. We're looking for a pair of those factors that are going to sum to minus 11. So if we look back at our list up here, we need to pick a pair of these that are going to get us to minus 11, and that's going to be 4 and minus 15. So we're going to use 4 and minus 15 for this one. So when we write that out, it's going to be 3x squared minus 15x plus 4x minus 20. And again, we factorize it by grouping, so we're treating them in pairs. So we get 3x times, and then in brackets, x minus 5 plus 4 times, and then in brackets, x minus 5. So we have x minus 5 times 3x plus 4, like that. And we look at our last example just to finally see how this is done again. We've got a 7 and a 6, our numbers on either end, so we're going to go 7 times 6 and we get 42. And because there's a negative in the middle, we're going to have to list our negative factors as well for this. So we're going to have 1 by 42, 2 by 21, 3 by 14, and 6 by 7. And then we're going to have the negative version of all of them. So minus 1 times minus 14, minus 2 times minus 21, minus 3 times minus 14, and minus 6 times minus 7. And we're going to use minus 2 times minus 21, because minus 2 minus 21 gives us minus 23. So when we rewrite that, we're going to get 7x squared minus 21x minus 2x plus 6. And we factorize that, and we get 7x times x minus 3 minus 2 times x minus 3, like that. And then we put them together, we're going to get x minus 3 times 7x minus 2. So that is how you factorize a quadratic expression using the guide number method.